Hey, hi, what's up? We have a new chapter of Boku no Hero Academia. This is chapter 265. The raid continues. Tokoyami, whose name is just a random collection of syllables, it seems. Sorry, I always forget what it actually is. I think it's Tokoyami. Teaming up with Fat Gum and, shoot, what's his name? I love that guy. One of the big three that eats stuff and then can spawn it from his body. And he has some, like, it's like sunshine or something. Anyways, the three of them are teaming up. A whole bunch of bodies gathered in a giant sanctuary underneath this place. Several passages lead outside, but our allies block them off in advance. Only ones left are the 5 in the mansion. The 5. I think there's a lot more than 5 enemies. Oh, 5 entry points. Right, right. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Looking at the diagram. Yes, of course. So that's kind of neat. It looks quite realistic. There's like an elevator, probably for freight and stuff. There's several pedestrian paths, and then there's one that goes right onto the stage area, which makes sense. That one was out of Cementos's range. I suppose we should block it. Okay, so there's some villains pouring out of this entrance, whatever, already, including this intriguing 4-armed spider sword man. But yeah, a real ragtag collection here. How do they know about this passageway? Defend it to the death. Sun Eater! Right, right. Sunshine. I knew it was like sun something, and that was kind of like ironic because he was so gloomy. But it's not so much ironic, it's just sort of an interesting juxtaposition of symbolism. He's the Sun Eater because he eats everything under the sun. Nice, nice. Vast hybrid chimera centaur. He ate horse. Delicious. No, I actually tried horse once and I didn't like it. It was like way chewier and kind of gamier than I thought it would be. I don't really know what I expected, but I figured I should try it. I had horse sashimi. Need you folks to stand down. So he's starting next year at Fat Gum's agency, having graduated high school, leaving UA. But I hope we'll see lots more of him in action. Working with Fat Gum, who I guess is a pretty big deal. And they both have like eating-themed powers. You folks to stand down. He's so embarrassed. He tried to say something cool. Okay, so Fat Gum runs up into the middle of the entrance. Also, I just realized, not only is Sun Eater turning into a centaur, but he's got these crazy appendages that look maybe like squid-based or something, and they're just flinging fruit everywhere. I love it. I love it. Fruit-based attacks I always think are so cool. Just something about like the kind of offensive hierarchy of fruits that emerges, like pineapple, top tier. Durian, I think we're swinging over here. Oh man, the smell, the spikes. Okay, anyways, what's the plan? Tokoyami in the middle of the entrance, doing some sort of technique. Your job's to plug this crazy long tunnel with your full power. Dark Shadow Ragnarok. Ooh. Going up against Reed Destro, one of the generals of the enemy army. One of their strongest fighters and the main antagonist of the previous League-related arc where he fought Shigaraki himself to quite a troubled extent. Will he be able to absorb Dark Shadow? He has that stress-based quirk that makes kind of darkness manifest on his body as he bulks up. But what kind of darkness is it? Whoa, no, they just fight. But holy crap, Tokoyami is strong. Whoa, Reed Destro's artificial legs crumbling against the ferocity of this attack. So I guess because it's a dark tunnel, a secluded space, the Dark Shadow's power becomes exponentially stronger. Tearing down the walls of the tunnel, shoving back a powerful man like Reed Destro. Awesome shot though, too. Like, just the inhumanity of this force. And the fact that, like, Tokoyami's power is so terrifying. It's such, like, a villainous-looking power. But to see it and be, like, in like happily excitement of how strong it's become. Such a neat kind of aesthetic mashup with the normal like aesthetic coding of darkness and shadows and stuff. Shoves Redestro through the wall and into the secret area where people just kind of seem like they're mulling around. One guy's on his phone. See this person on their phone? This other guy with some sort of like unicorn horn seems like he's saying, and another thing, to like literally no one. Everyone is ignoring him. They all think that guy's annoying. Someone here with like a long sword on their back in like a schoolgirl uniform. Very intriguing. What the heck? Wait, so this is a spread. This is also a spread, kind of. No, not really. Down there, a real nasty one. One who nearly stood up to a Ragnarok. When a real monster, he saw Gigantomachia. Ooh. Don't worry, they say that he won't make a move. Not with a direct order from the big boss. Anyways, boss is sitting this one out. So, that's really, really good for the hero side, that they don't have to deal with Gigantomachia. That only the Doctor and Shigaraki seem to have any sort of control over what he says and does. And both of them are quite preoccupied at the hospital raid. So Gigantomachia might be able to sit this one out. But I just love how this is depicted. Because, like, we know about Gigantomachia, but then maybe we forgot because they've done so much to hype up the other villains at this hideout. They've done so much showing kind of the scope of the battle. Here's all the heroes running towards, here's all the villains. And no Gigantomachia. Maybe he slipped our mind. So with Tokoyami, we see, like, alongside, we're, like, reminded and a little horrified of just how huge and monstrous he is. But only the reader knows the full understanding. There's a tiny bit of dramatic irony where it's like, oh, geez, you're right, it is a real monster, but I think you've underestimated just how monstrous he is. Plus, I also want to call out just how hype it is that he's like, oh yeah, that guy nearly stood up to a Ragnarok, therefore he's a real nasty one. Tokoyami is so strong now. Like, for all I know, he's actually up there with the Todoroki, Bakugao, Midoriya, like, power trio of Class 1A. Maybe he's even beyond them. We don't really know, do we? Anyway, so I guess this is info from Hawks. That Gigantomachia is not interested. How do we acquire such detailed intel? All thanks to Hawks. Oh, this is cool too, because yeah, Tokoyami. Oh my god, no, that wasn't what I was saying before. Todoyami? Anyways, he was Hawks' apprentice during the previous work term. So I'm sure he'll be quite proud to hear that his mentor had been so instrumental in this raid. Odds are he's somewhere here. Not that I'm much for training the next generation or whatever. It's fine to cover your close combat weakness, but don't forget to improve on your real talents. Ah, so yeah, this was kind of a complex that Tokoyami had before, where Dark Shadow was super powerful, but if the gap was ever closed, if they were ever actually able to fight his actual body, instead of just Dark Shadow, he was at a pretty major disadvantage. He didn't really have the physical strength that a lot of other fighters in 1A have. But Hawks encourages him. Just push Dark Shadow even further. Don't forget to improve on your real talents. And then he got this Ragnarok super attack. Improve just like he said. Hawks, if you really are here, I wish you could see me now. But meanwhile, Hawks is constantly blendering an endless onslaught of twice doubles, twice self-replicas. As soon as they're made, they're dissolved. An endless orgy of clone blood. Speed at which you replicate is astounding. True. Because you would think that Hawks, whose attacks are some of the fastest we've seen in the entire series, letting out all of his feathers like this, you can see his wings on his back are pretty tiny, so most of his feathers are deployed in this attack. And twice his doubling is still keeping up. He really is the super weapon. Kind of in the same way, no, even more so than Tokoyami. Tokoyami, it's like, wow, that guy's stronger than I thought he was. Like, maybe he's in contention for strongest of Class 1A. But then twice his power is like, oh, this is universe breaking. Like, this is something that becomes a world-ending scenario if not properly addressed. Each successive double is less durable than the last. Pierced by the same large covert feathers, some dissolve, others don't. Ooh, in the end, he can't keep up. Hawks is kind of like a hard counter. Not many heroes have this ability to just constantly launch fresh attacks in a certain area without expending a lot of physical energy. After coming this far, I could never allow mere sentiment to trip me up. There's still a way forward if you come quietly now, because I like you. Ooh, he makes a bunch of League of Villains clones. He's my only friend in the world, and you ain't welcome to join the club. Nice, yeah. But then, of course, mowed down just as quickly. It's useless, you scum, you total dirtbag. You think I prioritize speed when taking down villains? It's the ones who don't give up who heroes need to fear the most. So right away, Hawks wants to establish how stubborn the villain is. He wants to see, will I just be able to launch a quick, extremely fast reaction attack and nullify them? But no. Experienced villains with wills of steel refuse to get knocked out. And that is what he's dealing with twice. There's the real attack. Cutting twice right down the side. Get it yet? When neither side will give up, somebody has to die. You people ain't heroes. Never are, never were, none of you. Throw us to the wolves, all of us downtrodden folks. You don't know or care. The little Toga, she wrapped me up in her hanky, all gentle-like. But she didn't know this either. But this is the second time. The second time I managed to screw everyone over. Toga, she probably won't do me that kindness again, but that's okay. Still gotta protect their happiness. Sure to tell the League that. Jeez. This is grim. Hawks is preparing to kill him, even though deep down Hawks does like him, even though Hawks admits that he thinks that Twice is actually a good person and could be rehabilitated and reintroduced in society. Because he won't stop flailing, because he won't stop thrashing around and making these clones and basically trying to unleash this weapon that they all feared so much. He feels like he has to do it. But in this moment, and it's true that this series really does humanize the villains. It really does kind of give them moments of empathy and of camaraderie and of all the qualities that we admire in the shonen protagonists. It highlights that there isn't so much difference on this ideological level, that it more comes down to circumstances in life, what you think you need to do to survive, influence from other people, and needing that sense of friendship and of connection anywhere that you can find it. And in that sense, they are quite sympathetic characters. And here, adding an element of class to it as well, that the downtrodden folks. It's true if you think about it. Like, it's not that all the heroes are well off or wealthy. We have like Aruka and stuff that, she's trying to be a hero to raise money for her parents. So destitute are they. But for the most part, they're not homeless. They're not truly downtrodden. They're not someone who has been victimized by society. They come from a place of acceptance. Deku was bullied and stuff, but you know what I'm saying. In the most general sense, you know what I'm saying. That they've largely been in a place of comfortability within society. And from that lofty point, they persecute and terrorize villains, the people who often have none of that, who rage against the system that left them at the bottom. It's really interesting. I wonder how far they'll go with these sort of social politics. Ooh, but before Hawks can finish them off, there's no need. I heard him loud and clear. It's Dabby. And a relentless torrent of fire. Didn't notice me there, did you? Looks like Cinnamon tripped you up after all, hero. It's true. Usually I think Hawks would be on that, like super quick. He has all of his little spy feathers that would be kind of keeping him vigilant and stuff, but I think he was so emotionally wrapped up in the moment that he didn't notice at all a sneak attack coming. And here we're gonna get to see like how strong really is Dabi. How strong then by extension is that Iceman he fought to a standstill. There's all these characters in the league that their relative hierarchy of powers is quite mysterious still. That we need some sort of hero to kind of match them up against. But fire attacks generally in this series are depicted as quite strong, which makes sense because, you know, getting burned sucks. And Endeavor and Todoroki are some of the, well, like the strongest in one case in their kind of class, and Todoroki probably the strongest in his grade in UA. So I feel like Dabi is going to be a tough matchup. If he can burn up the feathers, that could just be GG. All right. Interesting times, interesting fights. I think they're doing a great job with this sort of war feeling that we start with like one event, and then through a flashback of one of the characters, we jump to another character involved in this war. I like it even more if there's like an actual reality connection, like somehow we follow the quakes or something caused by Tokoyami's attack up to the mansion, up to the room in which Hawks' fight is happening. But this is good too, a thematic link, a link of memory and sentiment. And just this idea of, I wish you could see me now, but Hawks is seeing something that he would much rather not. Kind of an irony. Anyways, good chapter. Good feeling of this is all happening. And I hope the future chapters kind of continue this pace. Like, focus on 2 incidents per chapter, have some substantial development in each, show some side characters in action. I liked when Tokoyami is hiding in Fat Gum's fat, too. That's adorable. And we got to see Sun Eater fight. I love Sun Eater. Okay, good chapter. Bye-bye for now.